It's become a regular occurrence for us year in and year out, opening a brand new World Cup season here in the beautiful Tyrolean Alps of Innsbruck, Austria. It's the 42nd season on the Wiesmann Luge World Cup. I'm Tim Singer. Welcome to our coverage of the weekend's final event, the team relay competition. Partly sunny, very warm. That's been a big factor all weekend, the warm temperatures here in Innsbruck. Right now, to tell us a little bit more about today's conditions and today's race, I'm pleased to introduce my guest athlete commentator, Olympic silver medalist from Team Germany, Diana Eidberger. Welcome back.
Yeah,
Welcome.
Hi, nice to see you and nice to be here. Yeah, it's very nice to be part of this whole family, and also, if it's possible, I come back.
Yeah, no, it's always possible to have you back, Diana, taking at least this season off. But now let's take a look at this track. You have done well. I think you've had a victory here, right?
Yes, a few years ago. But I heard from all the athletes that it's very difficult and it's very hard to compare with this track because it's very bumpy and the ice conditions are not the same like in training before. And so the results from yesterday and also from today are surprising me a lot, and yeah, it's hard to be good in the end. And now in the team relay we have three sleds.
Three sleds. They all start from the lower start, from the women double start, which is going to be fun to see for the men because that's a tough start curve, and they have spent all week at the higher start. Hey, let's welcome the Chinese. This will be a World Cup debut for the People's Republic of China. They will be the first sled down, and they will go in reverse order based on their standings all weekend long here at the World Cup. The Austrians, the Russians, and Germans. I think, Diana, if anyone else makes it onto the podium, it's going to be a surprise because those three countries have been the strongest this weekend.
Yes, of course.
And actually the strongest over the past couple of years. One interesting story, Austria has never won a World Cup relay competition.
Oh, really?
They've been close, but they've never won, so that will be interesting to see. Okay, let's tell a story with a warm introduction to the People's Republic. Wang Jubaye and Huang Peng. We do it in relay, starting with the woman, then the men's singles, then the doubles. But this, of course, is all about an Olympics coming up in just a few years now, 3 years.
2022, and for that I think they made also a big program like the Korean a few years ago to prepare the Olympics in the home country, and so they have to come to the sleds to compare competitions in good conditions and to compare with the other athletes here.
And this woman actually came within 3/1000ths of a second of qualifying for the World Cup race on Friday in the Nations Cup.
Yeah, she did also now in the run a very good job. For athletes who are not sitting such a long time on a sled, it's hard to feel it and to.
It takes a long time to get comfortable.
Of course,
in the sport,
and so they
compared
look very
to other
good.
sports. Some sports are just about speed and strength, but this is about comfort as well.
Yeah, of course, and you see, it's a long way to go in this status and to go so comfortably, but I heard and I see over social media and also because of the training camp that the Chinese did a lot to have a good competition at the Olympics 2022.
They're coached by Wolfgang Schädler, who really developed the USA program into a world power and then helped redevelop the Russian team. Now he's with China. He and Tony Benshoff, another American, Wolfgang from Liechtenstein, they are now coaching the Chinese. That happens a lot in this sport. Some of the big European coaches end up developing new nations.
Yeah, because there's a lot of tradition and also the know-how of the coaches is very important. And you see this little mistake, but I think it's also it's a little bit hard, and you see it's the they learn a lot and need to learn more for the next years.
Question is, can they hit that paddle? The paddle is up here past the finish line. They will not hit it. So in their very first World Cup race, China will not get a finishing time, which is too bad because, Diana, until curve 9 for doubles, the first two sleds looked great. Everyone, it was all very clean for them.
Yeah, for the doubles it's a little bit harder, I think, because the point of laying on the sled is a little bit higher than the single, and it's also hard to compare two men on one sled.
Right. Here we are. This was Wang, and she was great.
Yeah, she did it well.
Small athlete. She's no
Good.
Diana Eidberger yet.
Nope.
She needs to put on a few
she
kilos.
She did a good job also with the head lay back, and she looks very comfortably on the sled.
And the doubles team of Huang and Peng. Now they will debut the track in Beijing at the end of next season, February 2021. So everyone's excited to see that. In fact, some athletes will go there at the end of this year for what they call the homologation of the Beijing track. Now team number 2, the Czech Republic. They raced just one time last year in relay, and that was with a 10th place finish. And you and I were at the last race together in Sochi. I'm not sure if you announced the relay, but there were only five nations in that race, which was too bad. It's nice to see we're back up to 13 for this World Cup opener. Wow. Michaela Marshikova with a lot of trouble at the start.
The start will be also the point who decides this race, because this corner is a very special corner, and in this in the last few years it's getting harder and harder to make it in a good way.
As always in the early going, we welcome your tweets, your comments. You can find us at Luge Announcer on Twitter, luge.announcer@gmail.com. That's our email address. Already Ken has written in saying it's always great to have Diana around, even though you're not competing this year, as the paddle goes from women to men here for Czech Republic. Augusta also writes in from, she's watching today in Vermont, so a warm welcome to Augusta as well. So Czech Republic, this is the Kreisel curve. It's a beautiful turn, 270 degrees, but not really difficult, at least at this track.
Yeah. It seems like it's an easy track also because it's short. Also for the team relay. For the men, maybe not so easy because they start at a curve 1, and for the ladies
curve
it starts
5, which is the first curve for the women in the doubles, right?
It's more slower than from the start position, but sometimes it seems that it's easy only because it's too short. But this track is growing in the last years to one of the most difficult.
It really has become that. As we have the doubles team now, Filip Videjek and Zednik Pekny. Pekny, one of the youngest athletes in the sport, just 19 years old, but in his second full season on the World Cup. There was a time, Diana, where it was curve 9, you had to worry about nothing else. Now, top to bottom here in Igls, right? Especially down here in the lower labyrinth.
Yeah, the problem of some curve 9s, and it's in all the tracks of the world, it seems it's like every time the curve 9 you could have a problem.
Right.
And if you are too slow and you don't have the right pressure for the curve, it's hard to go.
What happened there? That was,
yeah, she were not in the right way going down the hill from the start to the first corner and to the first curve, and she bumped the side, the wall, and so it's hard to make it in a clean way.
2 of the 13 teams have made their way down here in the relay as we get ready for our third team, Slovakia. In case you've been missing the exciting action, and I mean exciting, all weekend long, we've had a lot of unpredictable races. 3 different countries have captured gold medals so far this weekend: Russia, Germany, and Austria. Several other nations have won medals: the United States and Italy. I know I'm missing at least one other. So they've been sharing the hardware. And now here's Slovakia. Katarina Simanikova will be first up. The Slovakians finished 10th in the World Cup standings last season on the World Cup. They only raced one time, and that was a 7th place on your home track in Oberhof.
Time went into the green because she made a
much
very
cleaner
good
start,
and
right? Not bad. It could have been a lot worse, and now a little bit of a skid into 10. Steering a sled. You know, some people, Diana, they love the sport of luge, but they don't know exactly how we steer. And early each season, I love to talk about that. So from your standpoint, how do you steer a luge sled?
Yeah, we steer exactly in the way we put our feet until the
kufins, the runners. Right?
Yeah, and the runners. We don't have something in the sled for doing this, and also with our shoulders we can do a little bit. And sleds are so easy for steering. It's I explain it lovely if you compare a normal car with a go-kart.
Okay.
And so it works like this. It's not hard. It's easier, and the sled is moving very fast.
This is Josef Ninnis, pretty high in the finish curve for the 39-year-old oldest man on the circuit, as he clears the way for the doubles team of Tomas Bebercek and Maciej Schmisch. And one other component that doesn't involve steering but involves your mechanics is that these athletes try to keep their head back as much as possible. If you're doing it right, Diana, you're actually not looking where you're going, right?
Yes, that's true. We are looking for the walls on the side, and you have also, if you go into a curve, you can see the end of the curve because you have this wide
little peripheral shot, but that's it. Okay, uphill to the finish. Slovakia does take the lead. They do it easily. That's no surprise because just before them, Czech Republic had a finish time, but it wasn't really the cleanest of 3 sleds in the run. So early lead for Slovakia. That's just 3 of the 10 nations, with all of the powerhouses still to come. When we've covered these races, and you and I have done many relays now, it's always been 7 nations and 7 nations. You have the Germans, Russians, Austrians, Italy, Latvia, USA, and Canada. They're the medal teams. Then the rest of them, China, Czech Republic, Slovakia, Ukraine, Romania, and Poland. But this year, maybe Poland makes a little more noise, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk more about them in a moment. But we've got a couple of nations before they go. As you see the Slovakian times, it's combined time. If you didn't get that already, they add on the times. The clock is just running for all 3 sleds.
Yeah, it's nice to see it.
Ooh, who are these guys?
Oh,
you brought your friends here, Diana. That's the holiday. It's the holiday that happens in early December, right here in Austria.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
It's a really scary pre-Christmas festival.
Yeah, it's for the bad ghosts in you. They hit
the
it
demons.
out. Yeah, the demons.
Yeah. Okay, Ukraine now. Olena Stetska first to go. Anton Dukash will be second. He had a good race earlier today. And then doubles. A nice clean start here for Stetska. When these smaller nations are here on the track, they work really hard, Diana. And when you're close to them during training, what are you noticing? Do they even have the courage to come up and talk to the Germans and to the Austrians for help?
No, not normal, because I think, but it's not necessary that anybody is scared or have too much respect. If anyone comes to me and would ask me something, I would give my...
You're always friendly to everyone. Okay.
Yeah. But also, I think it's sometimes also a problem of communication.
Sure.
To explain, and if they know what I mean in this moment.
Now, some of the small nations, as we introduce Anton Dukash to the track, as it's a fairly close race going on right here between Slovakia and Ukraine, just 1600ths at the last split. Some of the smaller nations train as one little small nation group, the FIL group, but some of them train with Germany.
Also, yeah. The Polish athletes train with us, and also Switzerland since years.
And Argentina this year, I believe. Veronica.
Oh, really?
Is part of the German program as well.
Okay.
That's got to be great for her.
That's new for me for this moment.
Yeah.
I never heard about it. But to talk about the FIL group, the group of the little nations, they have now Maciej Kurowski as a coach. And he also got a lot of information, a lot of training with the Germans too, and can also give the experience. Over the years.
That's right. Maciej Kurowski, the Polish bear, retired after last year, and I talked to him. He's really enjoying working with these smaller nations. Oh, we have seen Ukraine fall behind Slovakia. That happened earlier in this run, the doubles run. They do cleanly hit that paddle. Only one team has failed to finish so far, China. And so it is Slovakia holding on to their spot at least for one more sled ahead of Ukraine and Czech Republic in our Eastern European portion of the program.
You see in the face, it's like a little bit. Oh, I'm scared. This is the start corner, and this could be hard because the men are not so often at a lady start.
That's right. Well, so Emily and I talked about that earlier.
To train.
The ladies start is hard enough for the women in doubles who spend all week training there, let alone the men. Who don't see that all week.
I know from our athletes when they have a training camp in Altenburg, they have to start from the junior start, just prepare.
Just to get ready.
Yeah.
And you got to figure that gives an advantage today for Austria because the men probably spent a lot of time before the season getting to know it. Now it's time for Romania. Certainly a respectable team of a veteran man, a veteran woman, and a young doubles team. And when I say veteran, we have Raluca Stramaciuraru starting things off. She had her 34th birthday yesterday. And Diana, we've said this a couple times this weekend. Did you know that if you go back to the Olympics in Pyeongchang, she is the highest placing finishing woman active this year?
Yeah.
Every other woman, 1 through 6, is either retired or, like you, on a leave of absence this year.
Yesterday, I was talking to her and was saying, "You're the really mama this year," because there are such a lot of new faces, new names, and also the younger one.
That's right.
There's a changing in the generation.
She had an issue there with a foot tap out of curve 9, but she made a veteran correction. But that's going to cost her. They could fall into the red here before she finishes.
There were also ice cutting in the entrance of 14.
Well, she opened it up a little, so a good sled setup if nothing else. And Vali Cretu, he handles that start okay. And this is a man that can often open up some time down at the bottom as well.
Yeah. They live from their experience all the years and compare the competitions in the World Cup.
Yeah, a lot of skidding there for Cretu. That was between curves of Kreisel and curve 9, and it's still happening.
If you have a competition in the early morning from the man start, and then you go at a lower start to the lady start for a team relay, you have to change your mind because it changed the line in the track.
Well, they fall way behind, and it was slow reaction time there as well for the doubles team from Romania. This is a young team of Handerek and Alanai, as they are visually slow here in the Kreisel. Looks like Slovakia will hang on definitely for at least one more team. Warm temperatures today in the Alps. Not as windy as it was yesterday. The wind may have affected the race a little bit. Here across the finish line, Romania in third place.
Fall back.
Their troubles continue. They had a really tough year last year in relay. They were at most of the races, but only had one finish. They had several disqualifications. And this is a tough discipline, relay, to get 3 sleds down cleanly and not have someone miss a paddle. You have not had a lot of opportunities to do relay.
Yeah, I think this were. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. The men had the competition before the team relay, then they go to the lower start at a lady start, and it's hard to change the mind that the track is. You have to do it in another way now because speed is missing, also the pressure is missing, and so
that's right.
It's harder for our guys, yeah.
Well, Raluca did her job, as you see, but trouble for the men here in the relay for Romania. Poland is up next. Slovakia on its way to its best finish ever, as it at this point can do no worse, I believe, than 9th place, 8th place possibly. So now the Poland team, young woman to start things off, Klaudia Domaracka rather, and Poland has really relied on 2 veteran women for a long time, Wojciech Chizin and Eva Kols. I'm not sure where they are right now this week. I'm
not sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about it. I asked Maciej what happened, but this team is much younger than the last years, and also the double seat made a big surprise yesterday.
We will talk about that in a moment. That is really one of the stories of the weekend.
That's so funny.
Poland doubles. It may be the biggest story of the weekend. More on that in a moment, but right now, this young athlete is doing her job. Klaudia opening up 1500s on the Slovakians here. Now we just, oh, look at that, 3/10. So let's see what Maciej Sokovic can do in his 3rd year on the World Cup. Poland finished 9th overall in the standings last year, but I believe they were 8th at the Olympics, which was pretty decent with team relay.
Yeah, you see the work the Polish do in the last years, also with the experience from the Germans is very good.
The closest track to Poland is Altenburg in far eastern Germany, maybe a couple of hours from the Polish border. Here we go, uphill to the finish, Maciej. Loses about 1/10 of a second, but it's not a bad advantage for a doubles team that turned a lot of heads yesterday. Diana, this pair had the lead over the powerful Germans, the Olympic medalist Germans, the Austrians. They were in front of everyone after run number 1, and were on their way to their first World Cup medal ever for that nation. But then they had a problem right here in curve 9. Much better today. A little foot tap.
A little bit. But yeah, in the last years, they also in the preparing of the Olympics 2018, they were to start better than our Germans.
That's right. Yeah, I think as they will give the lead to Poland here, they cross the finish line with a nice run. I think we may see a podium from Poland before the year is out. It's not a definite, but it would be exciting. And I don't know if there was anyone yesterday that was not rooting for them. Yeah. Even Sasha and Tony, I think part of them were rooting for Poland to be on the podium. And Sasha and Tony, of course, won the race. Pretty clean from top to bottom, right?
There are some little mistakes, some little steerings you see if the sled that the sled can't break out, but it's okay. it's hard for visitors now to think about the track, what happened when somebody is or when a team is going to the red and you don't see a mistake, but the conditions are a lot of the conditions are not so good today because it's warm.
Here in Igls, Austria, Slovakia continues to lead the way. It's Poland leading the way over Slovakia and Ukraine. They haven't updated our computers yet, but now we have our final 7 sleds, and these are all nations that have won podium positions, if not victories, in team relay. Here's Canada. Trinity Ellis with an 8th place finish yesterday and a top 5 in the qualifying Nations Cup race is really coming on pretty quickly in her still young career for Canada.
Yeah, of course. When the Canadians had Camp in Overhof a few weeks ago, I having a cup of coffee. There were also mistakes, also problems in the entrance of 10. But what I want to say is that Tristan and also Justin, they told me it's a very young team and they have to grow the girls.
Tristan and Justin will be the doubles team coming up next, but before they go, here's Reed Watts. He's still young, just 21, but he's already an Olympic veteran. We will be on his home track in Whistler in just a few weeks for the World Cup race and next year for the World Championship. Watts finished 19th earlier today in the men's singles competition, which may be, in his mind, a disappointing way to start the season. He's hoping for a breakout this year. 0.3 of a second right now, the advantage Canada over Poland. 1 sled to go, and here they are, who Diana was just talking about. Tristan Walker, Justin Smith, 9th place yesterday in the doubles.
They have a lot of experience also with all the athletes of the last few years, and so they told me that they are like the adults of the rest of the team.
They're the lone holdovers of an Olympic silver medal winning team in the relay in Pyeongchang. Alex Goff and Sam Edney have since retired, but they're sticking with it. They had a tough second run yesterday to drop back into 9th place. Speed is good at 110 kilometers an hour. And as we said, you've got 2 groups. You have the first 7 nations and the last 7 nations. And Canada with a big lead over Poland right now. Looked pretty clean, didn't it?
Yes, very comfortably from Reed. He put his head back and just relaxed.
So good showing. Trinity Ellis, who will be interesting to see how she does the next couple of weeks. Sometimes someone comes out of nowhere in a new season and then they're there to stay. Canada down. They have 1 career victory over the years. The relay's been going now for almost 8 seasons, I believe, 8 or 9 seasons. And Germany, by the way, has won 37 of the 54 relay World Cups that have been held. The USA also has 1 victory in the history of this event. And they are also fielding a young women's starter,
new faces.
Ashley Farquharson.
In this team relay.
She finished 15th yesterday, but by virtue of the fastest single run, she won this distinction today over silver medal winner Summer Britcher. Ashley had a faster first run and was in 3rd after the first heat.
So they made this decision also from the fastest run, like the Austrians do.
That's
and
right.
Not from the end result.
There's been a lot of discussion because sometimes, I mean, the fastest run means you can have 1 quick run, but do you want the fastest run or do you want the most reliable athlete? That's the big question. What do you think? Maybe it depends on the event
Yeah,
or the track.
I think so, or the track. Yeah, I think if the coaches feel that the athletes do the same on the track, it's hard to make a decision for the team relay.
Yep.
And
Now, Ashley gave an advantage to Tucker West here for the USA. West known for his quick reaction time, which was instrumental in leading the USA to a World Championship medal here in Innsbruck a couple of years ago. Nice exit at 9, but a little close to that wall. Not the best entrance to 10, was it?
no, this were a lot of too late, and you will climb up the curves, and it costs a lot of time.
So the lead for the USA heading to the doubles team, veteran athletes, brand new sled, Chris Masder and Jason Turdeman.
Very nice line.
It's funny, it didn't look like a nice line because they went back and forth,
Yeah,
but if you don't hit anything, it's a good line
it's
there.
working.
5. They have fallen behind Walker and Smith here in the Canadian team. And now they're way back. So part of this may be the Masder injury to his arm, but that's just a guess on my part. I don't know.
Yeah, you need a lot of time if you're injured or if you hurt something, and you have to cure and carry everything. And it's good that they try to have the runs, not just in the competition, also in the training.
They fall back one spot, but a distant second place, nearly 0.4 of a second behind Canada. And as I mentioned earlier, the Canadians and the Americans have won several podium positions over the years, but basically, given what unfolded this weekend, they were not figuring to challenge for the podium here. This looks like it's going to be an Austria, Germany, Russia competition.
Yeah, this will be very exciting.
Mm-hmm. You know, one thing we don't talk about that much is how hard it is to actually, for these sleds at the end of your run, to get up, the stomach muscles to hit the paddle.
On this hill?
It's an unusual motion for all of you lugers.
Yeah, it's hard because the way is also shorter than you know after the 14.
You have to do your ab exercises, right? And your back exercises.
Yes. And I think every time of it, it's better to stand up earlier and hit the paddle, and not to
be late and
to be
potentially
late.
missing.
Yes, of course.
And now we get ready for the Latvians. What's interesting, on some courses, I think your home course in Oberhof maybe, that paddle is so close to a curve. It's some places it's hard, and a lot of people miss it. Now here's Ula Zerna. She finished 28th yesterday, and her teammate was Elica Zutza finished 23rd. So this may be another nation that does the best single heat to qualify for the relay. Last year, Latvia won their first ever relay race on their home track in Sigulda. It was their first ever victory. But they're always in the top 4, it would seem. Zerna keeping it close to Trinity Ellis right now. Farquharson of the U.S. was actually faster than Ellis. And let's see, only 17 thousandths back. And yes, earlier today, Apriot's had a crash in the first run, Diana. I'm not sure if you saw that.
I saw it, yeah.
But he had the fastest run in heat number 2. So he didn't win the race. He didn't come close to winning the race because of the crash. But the fastest run number 2.
Yeah, so it's also a decision of experience.
That is. Moment. And a lot of people think now is his time. He has been a junior world champion or a junior world podium and youth Olympics as well. Apariots from Sigulda. His hometown is where the track is in Latvia. It's close for the veteran 3-time Olympic medal winning team, the brothers Sheets, Jonas and Andres. They are having a fun competition here with the Canadians. Will this turn green, Diana?
I wait for a moment.
1700s is a lot.
It's a lot. This will be hard. They just have to, have to try it. Also a little bit risk you need, maybe, but sometimes.
Handling these curves like the experienced athletes they are, this is going to be very tight. Do they make up any time? No, they actually lose another 10th on the way down. So Canada is assured a top 5 finish today. They've always been steady. In fact, the only reason last year Canada was not in the top 5 in the overall is they skipped 2 World Cup races altogether. Exit of curve 9 looking a lot easier today in the relay than it did in any of the other World Cup races.
Yeah, but here you see...
Not the best start.
Not the best start, not the best position for the start corner.
Situation right now, Canada leads the way over Latvia, and the USA is in 3rd. Still 4 sleds remaining here on the Olympic track in Innsbruck, Austria. There's looks like a little pain there by Christers, maybe hitting that wall at the start affected him. These two have done just about everything in this sport. Latvia in 2nd place for the moment, and we turn our attention back to the start. They're from Italy, but they're on their home track. The Südtirolians getting ready, led by Andrea Fetta, finished 10th earlier today, or yesterday rather, in the women's competition, but that was with the 2nd fastest run in heat number 2. Diana, I have been rooting for her the last couple of years. She came so close to the podium many times last year. I think she had 3 4th-place finishes.
Yeah, she made her homework in the last years very well. And it will be interesting if Sandra is
Sandra Robacher,
next year.
Right, broke her arm. She'll be back this year. Yeah, next year, calendar, this season,
yes.
second half of the season. Robacher won a race last year for Italy.
But also Andrea has now, she had the little mistake, also an entrance of 10.
Unfortunately, it was just little as she hits the paddle. Here comes Dominic Fischnaller, a 5-time winner on the World Cup. Fischnaller finished 3rd earlier today in the men's singles competition. He's about as steady as anyone not from Austria on this track.
Yeah, the Italians, they train a lot of have a lot of runs in Innsbruck because it's like a home track. It's not so far from the training center, so yeah, they have more runs.
They are building a new track for the 2026 Olympics in Italy. We can't wait to return to Cortina d'Ampezzo. But now we await the run of the doubles team for Italy, Nagler and Malaya on their home track. This is a team that surprised a lot of people a couple of years ago with a top 10 performance at the Olympic Games in their very first month in the international sport. They showed up late in the Olympic season. 2400s is their lead. Not a bad exit. Interesting line out of 9. They straightened it out quickly.
It was okay. I think it's also if they keep cool in this moment, and then it's okay.
It is okay indeed as Italy moves into the lead. First place ahead of Canada and Latvia with 3 remaining. And they all did a nice job. It was pretty much teamwork there. Vetter, Fischnaller, and wow, see, that's a long outrun, and they're having trouble getting out of the sled. We were talking about this yesterday. You know, years ago when I first covered races here in Igls, the finish run, they didn't have this building here. Yeah. They had a big cushion, and you hit the pad. So Andrea Vetter, will she win a podium this year? I say yes. Dominic Fischneller, he's won plenty of them. And they all looked very steady here. I'm not sure if, it'll be interesting, we'll know in just a second, did all three of them have the fastest run so far? Possibly not doubles.
This what I feel for the season is, it's the first World Cup, and you know, everyone is so exciting to compare with the others.
For sure. You wait all summer to see.
Yesterday, it seems like there's a little wind. Everyone is thinking.
So everyone,
yeah, perfect.
everyone in the green.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did their job. Italy won one race last year, and that was in Oberhof. Okay, here's a fun little story here, Diana Eitberger. Lisa Schulte leading things up for Austria. They've been so good all weekend. They've been on the podium or near the podium in all of the races, but they have never won a World Cup relay. Austria has never won a relay event. Will it happen today? They certainly have a good chance, right?
Of course. And there is a lot of potential in all three
disciplines. Now, it's possible that Madeline Igls had the better second run, the fastest timed run, but Austria uses the best finish. And Schulte, who was leading after run number one, still ended up in the top 6. And she's keeping it close right now to Vetter.
Yeah, but this is new also for the season. And normally they take also the best run and not the best result in the end.
Now Jonas Mueller, who was as good as anyone, including Tatiana Ivanova in the women's race, earlier today in the men's race. A lot of people did not think he could hang on and top Roman Repelov when everyone else was falling behind, but he did, to the delight of the Austrians here.
Yesterday I was asking him if he's fine and everything is okay, and he said, yeah, I have some problems with my back.
Really?
And maybe we will see tomorrow
He's
how
too
it
young
works.
to have problems with his back, right?
It's a Luge thing.
Okay.
And he did such a great job from the beginning to the end.
Well, he opened up a lead a little bit more, but 1600s, is that enough of an advantage? We'll see now. Stoy and Kohler, they were on the podium yesterday with a third-place finish. All things being equal, they should be the fastest or second fastest of the double sleds in today's race. But they have fallen behind. This has got to be a bit of a surprise.
No, for me not. I saw they had not the perfect position at the start, and the feet comes down from Thomas.
Now they're back in the green by 9 thousandths, but at what cost did that early mistake deal to them? They will have second place time 200, so the wait will continue for Austria to win its first ever World Cup race. This was potentially their best chance to do it. Italy is assured a place on the podium right now. This is the surprise of the race so far for me.
I hope everyone can feel it when I tell that it's the first competitions and everyone is excited.
Lots
it's the
of
first...
unknowns.
Yeah.
Lots of
and
question marks.
I think the most time is if you think that anything could possible, but it doesn't work.
Right. Well, I feel it when you're telling me that. Yep. I know exactly what you're saying. And this was, as you said, far from a perfect start from the doubles team that has definitely done more starts here over the last 3 years than any other team in the world. It is Italy over Austria and Canada. Latvia and the USA round out the top 5 with 2 sleds remaining here at the opening World Cup race in Innsbruck. Action winding down to the final 2 sleds. There are the finish times. Jonas Mueller had a weekend to remember as he had the fastest time so far today. Earlier today, he won his first ever World Cup race. But Austria is behind Italy in the team standings with 2 nations remaining. Now to the top we go. Russia, 2 World Cup wins and a World Championship last year in the relay event. They've had a solid weekend, Diana, with a win in women's, a 2nd place in men's, and a 4th place in doubles. Biggest threat to Germany, without a doubt. Tatiana Ivanova yesterday came from 13th place all the way to the victory. Her 11th win on the World Cup.
Yeah, I think now she's falling in the back a little bit.
And a slight tap. Oh, all sorts of problems. You know, I was going to mention one thing about Russia is they can have the best runs on the track. They can also have the worst runs. They put it all out there.
And they could also be Seaman Pavlyuchenko.
Yeah, fly or die, exactly. And Seaman did not qualify, but look at all of the time Ivanova gave up. That's more than Repelov can obviously make up, right?
Yes. The whole weekend I see maybe 2 handful of sportsmen who did a very good job in a clean line.
That's right.
Nobody is...
Jonas Müller, for sure.
For sure.
Maybe Fischnaller, maybe Repelov in the 2nd run. Okay, red, let's see what this next split is. Really nice exit out of 9 and approach to 10, but how much time does he have to make up? Still 0.4 of a second. The 2-time junior world champion, maybe the gold medal favorite this year at the World Championship, Roman Repelov, could not cut into the Italian lead or erase the Russian deficit, is more to the point. Too much to ask of this doubles team, right?
Also for this conditions we have to talk about, because it's warm outside and the ice is not so fresh as the first.
That's right. But Italy only went 3 or 4 minutes ago. It wasn't like they were an early nation.
Maybe they are not so excited like the others.
Yes, so nervous. Okay, Yusakov and Prokhorov, can they keep it into the top 4? That's what they're looking at now. They may not even podium here because of the Ivanova mistakes early. They are in 6th place. They fall behind all of the big nations, Italy, Austria, Canada, Latvia, and the USA, in a very big surprise, but has otherwise been a great weekend for Russia. Let's look at the slow-mo coming up here, because, Diana, I want you to try to figure out what Tatiana did. She knows it. Look at her face.
Yeah, she hit the wall on the right side and the sled breaks out, and this happens because there were maybe a problem in out of the 9 with physical moments, and so it's like a ball who wants come back to the...
As we said, one thing we've learned about the Russians is they can have some of the most amazing runs during a week, and then they can have the most spectacular mistakes. And
yes.
there's some approach, that's the Demchenko method, maybe, that you just give it all and see what happens. It is Italy over Austria and Canada. They eagerly await whether they will win this competition. One nation remains, the traditional last country to go, Germany. 54 times there have been World Cup relay competitions. 37 of those 54 times, Germany has taken gold. They're also undefeated at the Olympic Games. They are all business there at the start, waiting. We have the doubles and the men, but now we have Yulia Tobits leading off for the women. Yesterday she tied to the 1,000th of a second with her teammate Jessica Thiebel.
Yeah, and also our head coach Norbert decided, because of the experience in this moment, Julia has a lot of more.
Now, did I see Felix there for the men, or was that Ludwig?
Felix.
Oh, was Felix up there? Okay. Locke finished 6th earlier today.
Yeah, the Germans decide because of the result of the race, not the fastest run. It's the whole result.
And it's playing out here, making Norbert look smart, because Yulia Tobits has moved into the green. Last year she finished 2nd in the overall World Cup standings, but a lot is expected of her this year with the leave of absence of yourself and of Natalie Geisenberger. So she has a big lead now, and here's Felix Locke. He fell back out of the podium earlier today in run number 2, but the Bavarian is looking good here in the early going through the Kreisel.
There's more time now in the green.
Big mistake on that transition from 9 to 10. He was 4/10 up. Now it's down to 1700s. It could be in the red, but Diana, if it is close, you've got Tony and Sasha up next. And they certainly...
Well, yes, of course. I hope they
could be 700s faster than the Italian doubles.
I hope, but yesterday in the first round they has also
rare mistake
problems, and for that they need a clean line.
So look for red to turn to green, or Italy wins. If it turns to green, Germany wins. Here are your fellow Thuringians, Tony Agert, Sasha Benekin.
No.
And they had another tough 9-10 transition. Will they hold on to the top 2? They could fall back into 3rd place. It's looking like for Germany. And Italy, for the 6th time, will capture a World Cup team relay event.
3rd.
What can you do? Italy won one competition last year in Oberhof. They open up this season as the relay leaders. Congratulations. That was great to see. And for some, a bit of a surprise. I talked to a lot of people, Diana, at the beginning of this race, and here were the 3 countries, Austria, Russia, and Germany. The only question is what order?
No, it's another order.
But what the English saying, a dark horse candidate, that is what Italy was today. And they came all the way from the 4th seed, if you will, to the victory.
In the end, I could say the secret of whole the week was just to have a nice line.
Have a nice line.
No risk. Just put the nervous out of all the space and just relax. It doesn't change from one year to the other, but
you do go in with all of these expectations, all of these thoughts. How will I do? And well, it's another podium for Germany. I'm not sure there's ever been a race where they haven't been on the podium in a team relay. Our congratulations to Italy, Andrea Fetter, Dominic Fischnaller, and the doubles team of Nagler and Malaya. Great to see to open up this season.
Of course, yeah.
Look at the final standings, and you have Canada in 4th, just off of the podium, and not far off, just 600s.
No, also Canada. They told me, maybe this year the team relay would be very hard for us because they have such...
Kennedy Ellis is making a name for herself pretty quickly.
But
USA in 6th place. There will be no relay competitions, I don't believe, in the 2 North American races.